Hi, folks. I'm Rich Lucy, Senior Prevention Program Manager here at the Drug Enforcement Administration in our Community Outreach and Prevention Support section, and welcome to this episode of Prevention Profiles Take 5. One of the highlights of my job each year is to announce the winners of our annual Red Ribbon Week Campus Video PSA contest. We announced the last fall's three winners at NASPA's Strategies Conference this past January in Boston. And if you were there, great. And if you weren't, you're in for a treat to meet the three representatives from the three winning campuses for this year. So let me introduce all of our guests to you. Haley Farrell-Kissing is a senior at Kennesaw State University, majoring in media and entertainment. Kennesaw State University won first place in the Campus Video PSA contest, and Haley served as the first assistant director and the art director for the PSA. So, Haley, welcome. Jose Vallejo is the assistant director of collegiate recovery at Baylor University. In this role, Jose oversees the Beauchamp Addiction Recovery Center, providing support, resources, and community for students navigating recovery. A licensed social worker with over 10 years of experience in the recovery field, Jose is passionate about reducing stigma, promoting mental health awareness, and creating spaces where students can thrive in their recovery journey. His work includes implementing recovery programs, facilitating support groups, and collaborating with campus and community partners to foster a culture of holistic well-being. And Baylor University's entry into the contest came in second. And third, our third place winner was the University of Utah. And representing the University of Utah is Sydney Holcomb. Sydney is a content specialist on the marketing communications team within the Center for Campus Wellness at the University of Utah. With over 3 years of experience in marketing and content creation, she has spent the past year at the university making health education and wellness topics more accessible through engaging social media content. Sydney specializes in reaching wide audiences with impactful messaging that promotes student well-being. Her work at the CCW sparked a passion for public health, leading her to enroll in a Master of Public Health program where she is currently furthering her expertise in the field. So with that, Haley, Jose, and Sydney, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. We're glad to have you. So this surely should be entertaining and a bit of a promotion, if you will, and encouragement for colleges and universities as we look toward our 10th annual contest later this year. Talk about that a little bit later. But Haley, I'm going to start with you. Let's start with each of you telling us a little bit about your campus. So, Haley, tell us about Kennesaw.
Kennesaw State University is the third largest college in Georgia with over 47,000 students. I hold two campuses, one in Kennesaw and one in Marietta. They have over 11 different colleges, and they have a lot of different interactive clubs. And the way I kind of got into this was through my major and how I got to apply for this contest.
Great. And we'll talk about that connection between media, entertainment, marketing, and health promotion, health communication a little bit later. So thank you for that. Jose, tell us about Baylor.
Yeah, so Baylor is in small town Waco, Texas. It's a faith-based institution, has about 20,000 students here. About 15,000 of those are undergraduates, about 5,000 are graduate level. So yeah.
That's great. And Haley, I want to ask you, so with your large school, a lot of a mix of commuter and residential?
Yes.
I would say?
Yes.
Okay. And Jose, same with you?
No, it's actually just most of them are here, no commuters. We do have a large online presence for graduate students. And there's also a nursing school that's based out of Dallas. So a lot of students will come here for their first 2 years of their school and then move to Dallas to finish their nursing degree.
And my geography is a little off. What's the distance between Waco and Dallas?
Yeah, about an hour and a half.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. Okay. Cool. Sydney, come to you. Tell us a little bit about University of Utah.
Yeah, so the University of Utah, as in its name, is in Utah. We're in Salt Lake City, just kind of tucked away in the mountains. It's really snowy and cold right now, but a lot of people love going here because of the opportunities to to enjoy all the outdoor activities and snowboarding and skiing and rock climbing and the national parks. And so it's really beautiful, beautiful campus. And we love it here.
Residential as well? Pretty strong residential students live on campus?
Yeah.
And it sounds
Yeah.
like you said with your activities, they're very much outdoor oriented, whether it's, regardless of the season, but certainly a strong winter presence.
Yeah, it doesn't matter the season. People always find something to do outdoors, which is great. I hate the cold, so it's not a huge benefit for me, but other people, they love the snow. They love the seasons that we have here and everything you can do.
Yeah. Oh, great. Well, thank you for telling us all a little bit about your schools. Jose, I'm going to come to you with my next question. So it's going to be for all of you, but I'll start, Jose, with you. Why did you decide to enter the Campus Video PSA contest last year?
Yeah, funny story. I've only been in higher education about almost a year and a half. So I entered last 23 of October, and right off the bat, we went to NASPA Strategies Conference up in January. So I was about 2 months in. So I was at the conference and got to see the videos and got to hear the stories. And I was like, hey, why can't we do that at Baylor next year? So that started the conversation for us to start looking at, hey, what does it look like for us at Baylor to kind of create some content and make a video to submit it to the DEA.
Cool. And first one out of the gate entry, you ended up coming in second place. Not bad.
Yeah,
Not bad
so
at all.
that was great. That was awesome.
Nice, very nice. Cindy, how about you? How did you guys come up deciding to enter the contest?
Yeah, it got sent around our office for quite a while, a couple weeks, and it kind of went to student affairs, and some people were trying to decide who was going to do it. They thought that it would be a great opportunity for us to enter, but I'm a part-time remote employee, and so I don't have a lot of opportunities on campus. But time was kind of running out. I think we decided to do this like a week before the deadline, and so I said, fine, like I'll do it. It was something that was important to me. I just worried that, with the time constraints and the resources, maybe we wouldn't be able to pull it off. But it was important. It was important to me and also to our department to do this and promote this message. And so, we decided kind of last minute to throw our hat in the bin, but it worked out.
Yeah. Well, truth be told, we do give folks 8 weeks. That's the entry period is open for 8 weeks. It sounds like you spent a good chunk of that first half deciding who on campus was going to do it.
Yeah.
But hey, like you said, it all worked out. So that was great.
Yeah.
Hey, I know that you were part of a larger team actually at Kennesaw that worked on this. How and why did you guys decide to enter the contest?
So I took a capstone class last semester for media and entertainment in order to graduate. And my professor, Professor Choi, he assigned us to make a PSA video, but he wanted to make like a intercollegiate competition like within our classroom. And he said like whichever best PSA video, he would end up supporting us like in our career development and submitting it to this festival. So that's how we kind of found out about this. And in addition to this, we had Lindsay Montgomery. She works for our like wellness center, and she came in and talked to us about all of like the alcohol and drug awareness on campus and the issues and the statistics that they see at Kennesaw, but even in colleges overall, to help us give like insight for how we made our project.
Yeah, I kind of I really gravitate toward the story at Kennesaw. So a couple of parts going on. As you mentioned, as I talked to Sang-Son about this, was there 5 PSAs that were developed?
So we all got assigned into groups that was randomized, and it was between 3 to 4 students. And I got put in a group with Evan and Brianna, who are my other workers on this. And we had 4 other people that we were kind of competing against in our class. But we all, I would say, made videos.
So those 4 videos ended up being judged by not only your peers, but I know Lindsay was involved, from the health center. And then, whichever video was chosen to represent, that's the video that got submitted to the contest.
From what I understood was that Professor Choi and Lindsay, they had a board that ended up reviewing each individual video, as you said, and they were looking for specific aspects where it didn't hone in on like peer pressure or kind of like a threatening vibe or consequence vibe, because they realized like in research it doesn't necessarily work to tell people like what the consequences are going to be, because they always thought that they were like it wasn't going to be them, and so they ended up choosing our video.
That was great. And I do want to say a bit of the uniqueness that, we talk about when I'm out promoting the contest and such, is that it doesn't necessarily have to derive out of the student affairs department or the health and wellness, department. This is a situation where like Lindsay came in, kind of did the subject matter expertise, providing you with some facts and information about the topic that you then infused. And so it was this nice collaboration between, say, the media and entertainment, part of the campus curriculum, and the health and wellness side kind of coming together on this whole piece. So I think that was great working on it from that perspective. Sydney, I'm going to come to you. So I want to tell everybody that's watching, you can go to our website, campusdrugprevention.gov. All 3 PSAs are posted online, and you can see all 3. How did you come up with the idea or the concept behind your PSA? Sydney.
For me, it was a very like personal subject because I've had a lot of family members that have struggled with drug and alcohol misuse, and I've seen how that's made their life more difficult, or just the outcome that can come with being involved with that. And so I think growing up, like watching those family members, it always made me think like, I always pondered the question, like, what if they had never done that from the start? What if they had a better support system, or what if they knew what resources were available to them? And that question just came to my mind when I was developing the concept for this video. And I wanted students to be able to ponder that same question, instead of thinking like, well, what if I do this? Like, maybe it could turn out okay. Like, what if I don't? And like, what if I take advantage of all the great resources and opportunities that are available to me? And so, yeah, just wanted to help them envision a future for themselves that was free of substance misuse.
And I can tell you, and all of our viewers, from the judge's perspective, since I was part of that and overseeing it, the messaging throughout, it's, very intentional. And, the work that we do in alcohol and other drug misuse prevention can get pretty heavy at times. I always say in our field, we can some incredible highs and some terrible lows in our field, but the messaging throughout and the imagery, it was just very light and upbeat. I mean, it was told just in a very matter of fact way, and I think that resonated with folks who are watching it. Jose,
Yeah.
Go ahead. No, Sydney, please go ahead.
I was just going to say that, I agree. Like, we wanted it to feel like kind of motivational and inspiring, because like you said, a lot of times it is very like kind of heavy or dark, or like, if you do this, your life's gonna be this dark path, but instead to like just shed the light on like the positive path, that another alternative route that students can take.
Yeah, and I think with PSAs, there's always the danger of coming across as kind of like preachy, but none of your videos come across that way with all of the messaging that you do. So you definitely achieved that. Jose, how about you guys at Baylor? How did you come up with your concept?
Yeah, I think, we are a collegiate recovery center here, and one of the things that we want our students to experience is community, especially when it comes to substance use. A lot of it can be, it can lead to isolation or feeling like, hey, I'm the only one on campus that's struggling with this or is on this journey. And so we wanted to make sure that, hey, how do we capture one of the ways of prevention is building community, right? There's this idea, or at least the opposite of addiction is connection. So, hey, how do we get that out to our student body? And so that was what we did. We kind of sat around with me, our recovery program manager, our student workers, brought in 2 graduates that were here before in recovery, and we just be like, hey, how do we make this happen? What do we do? What do we want to put out there? So it was a lot of brainstorming. There was a lot of ideas, a lot of great things. And so we took all these notes and all these things, and then we sent it over to a Baylor grad who does video editing and everything. And he said, okay, here's what I have out of all these ideas. And he brought something over. We sat down. He brought 2 different ideas and shared that with our student body here at the BARC. And we felt like this was the way to go. And so we went with it, and then we just started recording. I mean, we spent 2 weeks just recording all over campus, but it was fun. But really, we just wanted to paint the picture that community is a big part of going on the journey in recovery.
I will say that we talk about imagery of light and dark. I mean, I think that, certainly in your PSA clip, it starts off, I won't say, Gothic, but it was the imagery of, the lights, coming through the building spaces and such, but it was very darker. It was darker in the beginning, and then it lightened up. I think that was conceptually, a message that you wanted to get across in addition to the messages, the direct messages themselves. I imagine for all 3 of you, as I heard you saying, 60 seconds, I always say, no matter how much time you're given, you can say a lot in that amount of time, or you can say a little. It's all how you use it. But you probably had all these ideas, and you just realized you can't say it all in 60 seconds. You had to probably make some hard decisions about what to cut.
Yeah, 100%. We had so much stuff, so much good stuff. And we're just like, hey, what do we do? And so really just trusted our students who were like, this is what we would like to see. So it was great.
Well, you can consider it content you can use elsewhere. That,
Yes.
If it made it on the cutting room floor, as they say.
Yeah.
So Haley, you were part of the production team. Obviously, that was the not only the winning PSA within your class, but then the winning PSA of the whole contest. I'll give you my reactions about it in a minute. But how did you come up with the whole idea, the concept behind it?
So, like I said earlier, Lindsay had come in and talked to our class about scare tactics and how they don't work, and how usually it's a sense of community that really brings people together to get through recovery or even just to start recovery. And she gave us 3 big points that we really wanted to follow through with our video. So Evan, Bree, and I, we sat down and we started talking about how it's a college party. We want to really portray that. And so we didn't want the viewers to feel like they had to say no. We wanted them to feel like they have a choice in what they want to do. And it's their choice if they want to partake in drugs and alcohol. But we also want to portray that it's also not something for everyone, and you have other options. So for us, we had watched some other PSA videos that really highlighted drug and alcohol awareness. And one of them was about alcohol, and it was these people sitting around a table, and it's all kind of a person's thoughts of why you shouldn't do it. We felt like it was too scare tactic, but we really liked the coloring and the lighting. In addition to another video where we liked some of the certain shots, but that was for a DUI PSA. And so we kind of just combined our ideas where we really wanted to put spotlights on our main character's internal thought, and then also really put a close up on that person, so that way it brings greater importance in the story. But we also wanted to show that you can go to parties with a friend, it's part of safety, but your friends can also pull you out of situations. And if a party's not for you, you have a choice to just leave. You don't have to stay. So that's kind of where our idea came about.
Well, I have seen all of your PSAs at least 10 times each, I tell you, since they were submitted. I will, full disclosure, tell you, Haley, that for folks when they watch the PSA, the young man who's standing in the middle of the party, as you described, and then what I really thought, I like the way you explained it, is there were real people, and people will see this when they watch the PSA, but they were really, I think, his inner thoughts. I think partly were his own inner thoughts. But there was a moment in the video as a production approach is when the lights go down on him. And I get goosebumps every single time I watch that. It's just, there's something about it was the dramatic effect. And so I think that you guys definitely achieved what it sounds like you were hoping to achieve, putting that together. I had a follow-up question for each of you on this. So now that you've all won in this contest, and Haley, I'm going to stay with you first. What's been the response from the campus community since winning the contest?
Lindsay was saying that it was a really well done video. And so after we attended the conference, she said she loved how it didn't feel like a pushy video. And like you are portraying that people have their own thoughts. And when we won the contest, I think we got $5,000 to create another video for our campus. And I know Professor Choi is in the works of making one for our entire campus as well. In addition to this, I've had some other professors who've heard about Evan, Bree, and I getting to go to Boston, and they ended up watching the video and started telling us to submit it to other film festivals. And we actually ended up winning the Georgia College Associate, I think, film festival. It's called GCA, and we won first place for micro short as well.
Wow, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Jose, what's been the positive fallout, let's say, at Baylor from winning the contest?
Yeah, it's been great. You know, we had a lot of students involved in it, not just students in our collegiate recovery, but also students that were part of it as we walked around campus and kind of shared our vision of what we're doing as the video. And so we had a lot of anticipation already rolling up because students were like, I mean, we got done and we submitted it and they're like, when is it going to come out? When is it going to come out? And then we got the email back that we got second place. So it kind of just, took a little longer to get it out. So we had a lot of high anticipation to see the video. But I mean, it was great. We shared it on not just on our social media, but also the VP of Student Life here kind of created a YouTube channel on Baylor's kind of page and like shared it with the entire Baylor staff. Student life, but also professors and stuff. So it's been a lot of encouragement here. So it's been good. It's been just a great opportunity for us to kind of display who we are, with like, we opened up our collegiate recovery in 2017, kind of COVID kind of came in and like changed the dynamic of everything. And we felt like we've been in a season of rebuilding our collegiate recovery. And so this video was just an opportunity for us to shoot it out to the entire campus of like, hey, if you're in recovery, we're a community here to walk with you in that process, and you don't have to go down that road.
I know it's terrible that we make you all sit on this secret for about 4 to 5 weeks. Once we tell you that you've won, and then you have to wait until we announce it, like 5 or 6 weeks later. But we appreciate your patience with that. Sydney, so what's been the response at University of Utah?
Yeah, so the Center for Campus Wellness actually started as a drugs and alcohol prevention recovery program, and it's kind of evolved to cover a lot more. But I think that participating in this has kind of helped redirect our focus back to that and how we can continue to build up that portion of our center. It's just a happy coincidence that my husband, actually, we work in the same office, and he's a health educator over like harm reduction and alcohol prevention. And so with entering this and then him being the health educator, like over that programming and those initiatives, we've started to sort of tag team and collaborate to see like how we can involve the campus more in this. We did Dry January, and since this video was, we could finally publish it midway through January with the NASPA conference. We're able to share that like as a part of our like weekly, we were doing a weekly social media campaign and just try to get students really like involved and excited about that. And just exploring more options that we have for prevention. We do a lot of harm reduction, and I think that's good. But also on the flip side, like how can we uplift preventing misuse to begin with as well? And yeah, so it's really opened up the doors with that. And we're working with the campus to transition. Typically, if you are drinking, we have an alcohol-free campus, and if you're drinking on campus, then you may be sanctioned, and you'll have to do like a Canvas kind of course. We haven't been seeing a lot of like positive changes in this, and just having this kind of, like I said, redirect our attention and really striving to improve our prevention on campus. We're in the process of implementing like recovery coaches instead of just a Canvas course, to really be able to like work with students one-on-one and coach them and help them into recovery. And so I think it's just kind of like re-sparked an excitement for it, to like re-energize the team to see what's possible. And we're starting to see a lot of positive changes from that.
That's fantastic. I love to hear that that's kind of given you rejuvenated. It's not only rejuvenated the team, but maybe it's refocused the team, which I think is great. So thank you for sharing that. My next question, Haley, I'm just going to, Sydney, I want to stay with you. So what do you see as the benefits to entering the contest?
I mean, there was a lot of times when I was going back and forth of like, oh, is there a
that
point?
one whole week you had that you
Oh.
that 1 week you had, what is the benefits?
Yeah. I was like, well, I don't like, is there a point? Like, what if we like, if we don't win anyways, like we probably don't have a chance. Like, and really, I mean, we did it because we know there's benefit whether or not you win or whether or not anyone even sees it. Like, even like I just mentioned with it rejuvenating our team, like even if nobody else had seen this, just recentering our focus and getting excited about that helped. But also, I think even if just one person sees it, like the benefit is it sounds maybe cheesy to some people, but like it could change somebody's life. And it could set them down a life path that maybe they hadn't considered before. And so I think there's a lot of personal benefits to your team, just like your self-reflection on it. But also just knowing who might possibly see it and the positive effect that might have on them.
Yeah, well, you reference something that we face in prevention all the time, and that's hoping for outcomes that you may never even know about. You're interacting with, if I do a presentation or you're doing presentations in front of students, I've done them in front of, middle school, high school, college. You never know sometimes, what might stick with a student, 2, 3, 5 years down the road. So, it's great that you've, picked up on that and it carries you through in the work that you're doing. Jose, let me turn to you. So what do you see as the benefits of entering the contest?
For one, obviously exposure to what we're doing here at Baylor across the higher education. But I think more than that was getting our students that are part of our collegiate recovery already behind something together, and having them think about it, strategize. Hey, how do we at our collegiate recovery reach our whole student body, and empowered them to, hey, how do you run with this? Which created. It has created. We've already felt like we've had strong community, but I think that just created more deeper community. There was times whenever we would come together, get some dinner, and be like, okay, how do we plan this? What are we doing? So that was for sure a benefit. But even more than that, just to be able to get the video out to our student body has been a big benefit. I don't think we would have done it if we didn't enter the contest. I think it just would have been more tabling, marketing, different ways. But I think the video gave us an opportunity to do something to send out to our whole student body.
That's fantastic. Have you broadcast it to the?
Yep.
Seen it?
All over. It's been great.
That's fantastic. I'm glad to hear that. Haley, so obviously you guys came in first place, but I'm picking up a theme through all three of you. I'll mention it in a moment. I'll see if you mention it as well. But what do you guys all see as the benefit to entering the contest?
I would say the benefit is that, we were making a PSA video about a whole awareness, and our group got to pull in a lot of college students who were also majors or people just interested in film as well. So it kind of combined other people from different colleges at our campus. And while they were on set, they really got to hear the message that we were portraying, and they got to learn different information, which I think spread awareness in a different way of that we were thinking, more so than submitting the film to the contest and also just to our wellness center. So I feel like we really got to bring our campus community together to learn more about this topic. But I think in addition to this, I know after we left Boston, our school did post our video on like our main platform and our SOCOM, which is our college platform. So I know a lot of like communication students and also students at KSU got to see this message as well.
Well, I expected you were going to say what I thought was the common theme, and you did. So what I hear from all three of you was the different constituencies or stakeholders on campus that either pre-making the video or even afterward, just the idea of coming together, the opportunities for potential collaboration, just getting the message out across different groups on campus, that was, maybe not a benefit that you were going to see at the outset, but you certainly saw as a result of winning the award was the opportunity for different groups to come together on campus. So I think that's fantastic. As we wrap up, I always, if you've watched any of the podcast episodes, I always leave the last question to be around advice or takeaways, and this is no different. So, Haley, I'm going to start with you. What advice can you provide to our viewers who are thinking about, submitting an entry into this year's contest? We are going to have a 10th annual contest. We expect that we'll be able to collaborate again with our partners at the Center for Substance Abuse Prevention at SAMHSA, so we're really excited about that. But here's your opportunity. What's your advice for folks who are thinking about it? Haley.
For my group, that really benefited us was a lot of the guidelines and regulations for the contest itself kind of was a little blurry of what was too much or too vague just with portraying like drugs and alcohol on camera. So for us, we actually contacted the Red Ribbon Week Council and we found out what they really thought was acceptable so that way our video didn't get disqualified. But the other piece of advice I have is like have fun and be creative with it. There's so many different ideas you can put together and like make a project come to life. Don't be scared of like always incorporating statistics. You can always make a narrative story out of it, and it can have more emphasis or portrayal to audiences than just regurgitating facts, which I think really helped my group when we created this.
I'm chuckling a little bit because you said, you reached out to the Red Ribbon Week Council. So it's me. No.
Sorry, I can't remember. Evan was the one who reached out.
No, as the lead person from DEA that oversees the contest. Yeah, and I will say to our viewers, just put out there, I won't ever critique your idea. That's not my role prior to you, but I will give you some advice as to whether it fits within the guidelines. And that's more or less, I think I did when Sing Sun had written to me, and a couple others have written to me too. And I open that up. I say, I don't treat any one school different. Everybody's treated the same way. And so I can't tell you if it's a good idea, the way you wanted to approach it, but I'll tell you if it fit within the guidelines. So yes, definitely is something I encourage folks to do if they're not sure. The pages of rules are there because rules need to be there. But yeah, if people just aren't clear on something, or if they're just not sure if it fits, we think we can make it as clear as possible, but sometimes it's not. And so it's always great to just reach out to us to ask. And I'm glad you guys did that. Jose, how about you guys? What advice do you have for our viewers?
Yeah, I would say it's a lot easier than you think. I think a lot of it is just casting vision. I think when we casted vision, especially with like, hey, we're doing this for our student body, a lot more people were bought in, whether that's individuals who were, one of the guy who kind of worked with our video editing and everything was part of Baylor, graduated from Baylor, was still invested in what we're doing here. And so just casted vision. He's like, hey, we'll do it. And so we brought in a lot of different people. But it was just like, hey, the vision is for the student population at Baylor University to know that, hey, there's recovery support for them here. So just casted vision, and people were bought in. So it's a lot easier than you think. If you do it on your own, it is a lot. But if you bring a lot of people to the table, it's easier than you think.
Yeah, that's great advice because the teamwork that, and sometimes it's people you haven't even worked with before, some of the groups that you're sitting around the table with. So I think that's great advice is to, make it more than about just one department or one person doing this. Great idea. Thank you for that. Sydney, in the back of my mind, I have a guess as to what you're going to say your piece of advice is, but let's hear what your piece of advice is for our viewers.
You might be right. I would say just do it and maybe don't wait a week before. But I mean, I'm glad, I of course, I'm super happy and glad that, that it still got third place, but, there's a little part of me that it's like, well, I know I could have done something much better if I had, got a head start or had more time. But, I'd say even if you don't have a lot of time, don't let that discourage you either. Just, even if you do it, like we mentioned before, just for yourself or just for your team, I think there's a lot of benefits from that. So I'd say don't overthink it. I definitely overthought it and spent way too long trying to narrow down things, but just, just go with your gut and just have fun with it. Like Haley mentioned as well, you can be creative, you can make it fun, and just go for it.
Well, that's great advice from all three of you. I will tell our viewers, a little bit of a sneak peek, behind the curtain. In mid-August, we typically will release a save the date that we broadcast out, and that save the date identifies the entry period. That's usually about 4 weeks out before it actually opens. So you really kind of have a 1 month head start. We do it in August mainly because it's around the time schools are starting up. We know it's a busy time. It can tend to get lost. But, for the professionals, not the students per se, but maybe the professionals on campus, getting this on their radar early so that when that 8-week window does open, you have that maybe a little bit of extra time you needed to brainstorm the ideas that you just got, done saying. And I think that's another good piece of advice is, as I was alluding to with Jose, is put everything on the table. Have the brainstorming session where every idea gets considered. Just put it out there on the table, and then walk away for a day or two, sleep on it, think on it, walk on it, whatever. Then come back and revisit it, and then start, paring it down, if you will. But I think that all three of you have just fantastic advice for anybody who's out there thinking about it. And certainly, if people contact me, I will put them in touch with you if they, want to, by email, just to talk even a little bit more about your process and stuff that maybe we didn't talk about here on the episode. But again, I want to thank all three of you, not only for winning the contest, entering it. Again, congratulations on that, but just for being here and sharing your perspectives and just sharing community, just in the happiness of the pleasure of winning that contest. So, Haley, Jose, Sydney, again, thank you very much for joining us on this episode. And to our viewers, as I always say, I want to thank you for joining us. If you've watched any of the previous episodes of Prevention Profiles Take 5, they are posted on campusdrugprevention.gov, as well as this newest episode. And go out and check out those PSAs because you're going to love what you see. Thanks, everybody, and take care.